Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the FB4 Daily. It is Monday. It's about the 26th of August, I think. I could be wrong, but I'll go with the 26th. This show, of course, is brought to you by Paddy Power. Paddy Power is a bookmakers. Paddy Power, you can get their app on your Apple devices, on your Android devices. You can get odds on football. You can get odds on Liverpool specifically. You can get specials on our day trippers part of that app, or you can get odds on all sports and anything else in between. If you gamble, absolutely gamble responsibly. If you don't, disregard everything I've said. Mick is in the house. Mick, how are you? Nice to see you in again. Barry Carr says, Indy, big news, Kyle. Has he got big news? Okay, what time is the big news? Someone let me know. But where are we going to start? Well, it's your agenda tonight. It's absolutely your agenda. So whatever you want to start with, we will start with that, and we will continue for a half an hour or so. How does that work for you? What was there was one thing I wanted to talk about, and it's I only realised Joe Matip is in the last year of his contract. I'm presuming everybody is up to renewing his contract. I presume we are. He's been outstanding. We have a big game against Burnley coming this Saturday evening. I want to know what people think of the lineups and stuff like that. Throw it in there. What do we change things? Do we mix it up? Do we go for a settled side and get through to this international break? Barry Carr said he made it back from Luxembourg. Okay, great to hear, Barry. You were ropey last week at one stage, and I think you were on the beer, and that's absolutely okay. Do you think the Times article on rotation is clickbait? You'll have to tell me what article that is, Mick, and I will tell you what I think of it. Kev O'Sullivan says Linder's being groomed as Klopp's replacement. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? It's, over the last couple of weeks, we have seen, I suppose, it's gone from, look, Klopp has 3 years left, there's no issues, don't be worrying about it, to, Klopp we'll see out his contract, and then that'll be it. It's interesting to see how things change so quickly. Linders, I think, might be a good shout, as a replacement for Klopp. I think, he's there, he's working under Klopp, he knows how everything works, but, people have mentioned Steven Gerrard. Not for me, I'm being honest with you. Barry Carr says, Indy says we've through him a contract, time to relax again. Is this Matip we're speaking about? Is it Klopp we're speaking about? Let me know. You have to be a little bit you'll have to be a little bit more specific with that, Barry. Mick says Joyce saying we'll rotate top players versus Burnley to keep them fresh. I don't know. You see, how do I put this? We have a game against Burnley on Saturday. Then we have 2 weeks off because of a international break. I think if Klopp can get close to that team that he played on Saturday out onto the pitch, I think he will absolutely go with that. For me, early on, I think Milner might start. I did have a feeling we'd go with the same team, but if he was to change it up, I think you might see Wijnaldum come out and Milner go in. Wijnaldum or Henderson probably, and Milner to come in. A few people have said, what about Oxlade-Chamberlain? He's physical, he can break lines and stuff like that. Look, it's an absolutely good shout as well. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Barry Carr said he'd be absolutely fine with Pep Linders. It's a big job, Barry. Don't get me wrong. I do think that Linders is doing a fantastic job in the position he's in at the moment. In the position he's in at the moment, I think he is doing a fantastic job. But being an assistant and being the main man calling all the shots is a completely different issue. So, we'll have to wait and see. With regards to Linders, is there any other names people like to throw in the pot? And I find it, to be honest with you, I do find it a bit strange discussing this, discussing Jurgen Klopp's replacement, because as I said, he's 3 years left on his deal. I feel he'll be with us for a minimum of 3 years. I don't know if he'll sign a contract. A lot of people think he will. I've heard rumours of no, he'll see it out. I've heard other rumours that he will sign a contract and will have something about a sabbatical in it, different things like that. Cop 80 says Rafa. Listen, Rafa will go down as a legend at this club. There's absolutely no two ways about it. But the thing is, look at the style of play we play. Look at the high tempo we play. Look at, we're defensively solid. We're brilliant going forward. Rafa Benitez, first and foremost, comes out to not lose games, and I don't know if Liverpool fans, as a majority, would go back to the way Rafa plays. Grizz is saying don't discuss it. Grizz, I have to discuss it, mate. We're all having a little chat here about it, and people are asking and talking about it. It's the viewers' agenda, so they get to choose. Super Al is in, says hi Gav. Al, how are you? Let me see, what else have we got? In 3 years' time, the landscape will be very different manager-wise. It absolutely will. But look, the way I see it is, we are, in a great state at the moment. Klopp has 3 years to go, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be getting worried over Klopp and a contract, as I said, until probably January 2021. That leaves about 18 months left in it, and then it's crunch time. The one thing I would be interested in is if he did decide to run his contract and go, then would he be involved in his successor, and who would he like to see come in? Because I'm sure he would have some sort of say on it. Kev O'Sullivan says keep an eye on Nagelsmann at Leipzig this season after Hoffenheim. Yeah, I don't know much about him. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not going to say I watch a hell of a lot of Leipzig or Hoffenheim. But I don't know. I don't know. Once that Tuchel fella isn't anywhere near it, I'm happy, because I just can't stand that man. Barry says, let's be honest here. Life has never been better as a Liverpool fan. Let's keep this train rolling. Absolutely. And I think, I think it may depend on what we win. I think if Klopp was to win 2 league titles between now and the time he goes, or a league title and a European Cup, he might think, you know what, I've done as much as I can. 2 league titles and, and 2 European Cups and maybe a domestic trophy in between. I think that would make a massive difference to his decision being made. I think it must be something that's in his mind at the moment. It must be, and circumstance and success may leave him at a stage where he thinks, I've done enough here, I can walk away. I think he could walk away at the end of this season, all things being equal, and turn around and say that he's absolutely taken this club to an absolute elite level. So, whatever way it goes with Klopp, whether it's a contract signed soon, or he doesn't sign a contract at all, or he does sign one, where it's probably an extra year or 2 years instead of the 3 years that's being thrown around, Klopp can walk away from this club knowing he's put us on to an absolute elite level, regardless. Super Al says an 80,000 seater stadium is possible. That's what he reads. Let us know where you've read that. I was trying to think about this the other day, and we're at 54 at the moment. To put 26,000 extra seats in Anfield, I think is a big enough ask. If we're going on 80,000, I do think it's a big enough ask. I think if they can get that ground to somewhere around 70,000, I think you'd be fairly happy with that. Let me see now. Back to Matip, says Kev. I hope he's signed up to a good 2-year deal with an option for a third. Otherwise, we're shopping for a centre back next summer. We may be shopping for a centre back in any way, Kev. If Lovren seems to have disappeared way down the pecking order. I've heard about slight injuries, I've heard about illnesses, but I think the upshot of all this is that Lovren, I'd be very surprised if Lovren plays for Liverpool again. So we may be doing a centre half look in January, or at the very latest this summer. I really do think that. Ant Dicko says Gerrard nailed on to replace Jurgen. I don't think so. I think he's doing an okay job at Rangers. Um, Second is probably par for Gerrard up there. I think he probably needs to win a league this season or next if he stays there. But I also think he needs to get out of there. And I think the reason being, I just think that, he's in a two-team league. I think he needs to go out into somewhere where it's a bit more competitive. And I'm not talking championship. I think that is competitive, but I think he needs to be in a top division. Whether that's in England, France, Spain, Germany, Italy, anywhere like that, I think he needs to be in a more competitive league and prove himself there before, in my opinion, he could be considered for the Liverpool manager's job. But we'll have to see how that goes. Do you think Milner will get a new contract? He's in his last year. I think he will get a year extension. I'm being honest with you. I think he'll get a year extension. Why not? A year extension and possibly looking at something with regards to a coaching role or something like that. I could see Milner getting a new contract. Barry Carr says, enough on Klopp from me. Yes, Anfield going up to 62,000. That would be the Anfield Road extension, would be 62,000. I think it'd be in around that. To go up around 70,000 or so, you're looking at, I think you're looking at the Kenny Dalglish stand anyway, and possibly the Kop on top of that, but we'll have to wait and see. Looks like they waited for old planning to expire, as it was simply not worth the time. Was only going up the capacity by 2,000 to 3,000. The new one is a lot more ambitious. I haven't seen any plans around this where, I don't know where the word ambitious has been thrown around a hell of a lot, but we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen anything where they say, listen, this is the ambition we're showing. I'm not knocking them. I think people taking that word ambition and running with it. If Liverpool have let that planning permission lapse, the chances are they have a new plan in place, or drawn up or something like that, where they could probably show us, but they haven't. So it's just a waiting game on the stadium. It is a big thing for people, especially. I know there's somebody on here, I think it might be Mick, is on the waiting list. He's probably number 2,000 or 3,000 on the waiting list, and will probably end up getting himself a season ticket out. But it's massive for him. But at the moment, we need to concentrate on the football side of things. You have Kirby going on, the move out of Melwood and stuff like that. They're probably priority at the moment. And Dicko says he reckons Grujic is Milner long-term replacement. Very interested to see how Grujic gets on this season, to be honest with you. Really good season last year, Hertha Berlin, wasn't it? And he's back there again this season. They raved about him. I think they would have taken him on a permanent deal if they could have got it. But it'll be interesting to keep a track on Marko Grujic this season. I know he scored away to Bayern there a couple of weeks ago, but it'll be really interesting to see, because I think he has all the attributes to be a very good midfielder. He's big, he's strong, he's good on the ball, he's an eye for a pass, but he just seems to mentally seems to lack something. He goes in with, I've seen him put in some horrendous challenges, to be perfectly honest with you. So a little bit of progression there and a little bit of maturity, and I probably will get that over 2 seasons away at Hertha Berlin, being a regular in the side and needing that maturity, because he's being relied on, I suppose, is a really good thing for him. But listen, I think the fact that they loaned him this season shows that Klopp probably still sees him in his plans in the future, and he may be a long-term Milner replacement. He may be a long-term Wijnaldum replacement. You never know. But I think the likes of that move was really good for him. Super Al messaged me yesterday about a couple of things. I know it was the loan moves. What do you reckon with them? I didn't get them on the Fatback 4 tonight. So if anyone has any ideas on the loan moves, is it good for players? Is it bumping up values, i.e. Wilson and stuff like that? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Like Mick asked there, Harry Wilson to get a chance next season if he carries on his form. I've seen a great comment from somebody. I don't know who it was, so I can't give it to them and tell them who it was. But I remember them saying if Harry Wilson could do the simple things well, he would get a chance at Liverpool, because the outstanding stuff is outstanding. You've seen the free kick the other night and stuff like that. Harry Wilson, if he gets down to it at Bournemouth, sometimes in pre-season he just looked a bit slow in the interplay between players and positionally maybe, and a little bit physically. I think a season in the Premier League on loan at Bournemouth will help him in all those things, and a decision will definitely be made on Harry Wilson, but it's at the next summer latest, whether he's going to be a Liverpool player or whether he will leave. I don't see another loan move for him. I just don't see it anymore now. That's the last one. Back to the grounds and the stadium thing. Barry Carr says a big thing now is infrastructure. Needs better methods to get fans to and from the ground. Anfield is a fair walk from town. It absolutely is, and I've said this before. I know I've seen things about trams and train stations and basically getting to and from the ground, and it has to have a certain sort of infrastructure around the ground, over 60,000. The likes of the teams in London have no problem with that. No matter where they want to build, they have the underground and stuff like that. So infrastructure, will be a massive thing. I talk a lot of sense, Ori Wilson. Thanks, thanks, Al. That's how I feel on him. I was surprised to see him go out on loan this summer. I thought he would have either been sold or kept on. I was surprised to see him go on loan, but it's a Premier League loan. He looks like he's going to get game time, and hopefully physically and just tempo, pace, different. If he ups that 5-10%, he has every chance of coming back. I'm probably looking at the likes of Shaqiri and going, he's probably not getting in. He's probably itching. He might want to move away from more regular football. I could stand in there. I could get into that position and then go from there. Mikey says that Werner signed a new deal at Leipzig. Strange. Thought someone would have gone for him. Yeah, apparently it's a new deal with a 30 million euros buyout clause. I think I read that somewhere. I don't know how true it is, but that is somewhere I read. I am very surprised no one went for him. The thought we were linked, and the talk then is that Bayern were nailed on from, and it never happened, which is a little bit of a surprise. That Werner did not go, but I suppose the club are protecting themselves now with this contract. He gets a bit more money, but he also has that buyout clause there if something does come along in the next 6, 12, 18 months. We'll have to wait and see. Fantastic talent, and look, I think if there is a buyout clause there, 30 million, you could probably something in January. Somebody, maybe a top side that aren't doing as well, or Bayern might be in a tight title race and think they need something extra and could do something like that. Need cheap overnight accommodation and higher bed capacity around Anfield and facilities. Well, to be honest with you, Al, if you book well in advance and you're on top of things when fixtures come out and then the television fixtures are announced, you can get good deals. Flying in and out of Liverpool, staying in Liverpool. I know I done Saturday morning into Liverpool, coming back Sunday night. Liverpool were playing on the Sunday afternoon. I flew out of Dublin into Liverpool and back, and had a hotel shared with a mate and a match ticket for about 180 euros, which is about it's probably 180 pounds at this stage. That's how bad the sterling has gone. But I think around Anfield's getting better and better season on season, I'm being honest with you. And the new Anfield Road end, or an extension to 1, 2 or 3 stands, will only increase the infrastructure around there, the access to the ground and the facilities around it, which, as I said, are getting better and better as we go along. Let me see. Al reckons he can see Liverpool getting it right. He can smell a major redevelopment coming. It could be something you don't know. You'll have to see the size of the plans before you would. And I mean by that, I mean just the stands themselves, i.e. Anfield Road, Kenny Dalglish and the Cop. If they are going to go majorly ambitious, you'll have to see the plans around the size of them first before you can actually take into consideration everything else around it. You really, really would. Can I set up a B&B? No. A B&B business? Absolutely not. I have too much on my plate. I can't be doing stuff like that. Barry Carr says this will all happen after Kirby. I agree. I think that's one of the main things at the moment. Get Kirby sorted, get in there, get out of Melwood, get everybody together, whether that's first team, academy, everyone together, and then I think they will go from there. The Champions League draws on Thursday. I don't know if people have seen the groups. I don't know if, not the groups, the pots, pot 1, 2, 3 and 4. Interesting group, especially pot 2. I think is really, really interesting. But there's a good draw to be had in there, I think. I think there's a good draw to be had in there. I looked at the pots earlier, and people said, what's your perfect draw? And people were like, oh, I'd love a big game and a big away. And now, listen, give me Benfica, Bruges and Slavia Prague all day long. Let me know what you think on the draw, or on the pot. The draw starts at about probably 12 o'clock on Thursday and end about 5 p.m. because they drag it out that much. Super Al again says, if we spend 150 again on major redevelopment, then no TV is this summer. Or do you mean no much transfer movement? We'll have to wait and see. And Dicko says, bring them all on. We are the champions of Europe. Yes, absolutely, Ant. But what I would say is, people are saying, oh, well, if we go out of the Champions League, we can concentrate on the league. I think the Champions League pushes this team on. I have this little theory that we get into a groove of 2 games a week, sometimes 3, and we get into that groove. And this goes back to using your squad from day one. Use your squad from day one. Everyone's much fresher when you get around to February, March, April, the business end of the season. But I have a feeling that, don't get me wrong, if you gave me a Champions League quarter or semi-final, but we're going to win a league, I'll take it all day long. I'm all about the league. I forget the League Cup and the FA Cup, although I will cover them. They're the thing that are way in the back of my mind at the moment. But I'd like to see what people think. Maybe get a chance tonight to look at the 4 pots, have a look at them, come back to me tomorrow night, and we can have a little discussion. I have guests on for the rest of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The names, I've Sean Dunn that was on with us last week. I have Peter Phillips in the Cop Table. I have Andy Young, and I have Marty Sikora, who was on the Fatback Forwards a couple of times. He's going to come on and join me. What days, who people are on, they have got their days, but I just can't remember them. Chris Brack says being in pot 1 should hopefully make group stage more routine. You think that, but then you look at the likes Real Madrid are in pot 2. And then if you get a dodgy pot 3, you can throw everything into the mix. I just want the easiest group we can absolutely get. Let me see. Barry Carr says, how can a man catch every game now? Air Sport lost the BT package. A man has to go to the pub now for every game, not on Sky. Yeah, go to the pub. Or get yourself a channel subscription where you pick up the American channels and watch them all there. Much better commentary, much better than that Sky. I'm not going into Sky again, but much better than Sky, let's be honest. Real and Atletico are in pot 2, says Barry. There you go. There's 2 difficult ones straight off the bat. If you get them, and then I don't know if anyone has the pots up in front of them, but if you look at pot 3, there might be a couple of slippy ones in there, and all you need is not even us to lose. If you get someone in pot 3 does the likes of Atletico or Real, they're in the same group as you, and all of a sudden the top 2 aren't cruising through, it can be a little bit messy. And Dicko says December is mad for us. Could win our 3rd trophy in a year and be the first club to do that. Of course, we have this World Club Championship. That's going to put us behind and leave us with games in hand in the league. But I've every faith that we can go away. Will we miss 2 or 3 league games? It could be something along there. But I've every faith that we can go away and rotate in that, keep ourselves fresh, come back and get going again. M_Annie 786. I don't care who we get in the Champions League. We could smash everyone in Europe. Listen, I've no doubt that we are. I think we're the best team in Europe. I'm going to say it. People will come back and absolutely could lash me for that. Probably non-Liverpool supporting fans. But what I'm looking for is I'm looking for us to get to this. Like you look at it, we get to December. We're an easy enough Champions League group. We get into December, we get through that, we can rotate a little bit in maybe the last 1 or 2 group games. We then have to go away in December to play this World Cup Championship. Come back, the FA Cup starts. You'll have your league games being trying to fit it in somewhere. Hopefully the club do a good job of fitting them in where it's not too much, because you could end up with one of these 5 games in 19 days jobs towards the end of the season, something like that. Dave's LFC chat is in. It says, hi Gav, Dave, how are you? I hope you're well. You can get a dirty pot forces, Barry Carr. Ajax or Atlanta or Leverkusen could be in there. I know Slavia Prague are in there and I take it. I know is a Cluj are in there. I had got them up. I might be able to get them up on the phone now. Give me a second now and I'll have a look and we'll get these up. And we'll have a little gander at who is in there. You'll have to excuse me while I look at this. Let me see. Pots. Here we go. Okay. Pot 1. This is the picture I got sent earlier. Pot 1. Liverpool, Chelsea, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Juventus, Man City, PSG, Zenit. So that's out of the way, right? Pot 2. Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Napoli, Shakhtar, Spurs, which we can't get, Ajax and Benfica. They're all difficult, bar Benfica in my opinion. Shakhtar aren't great. I take them, but Napoli, Ajax aren't probably going to be as good as they were last season. but still a difficult place. Real Atleti and Borussia Dortmund, will they explain themselves? So Benfica for me in pot 2. Pot 3, Lyon, Bayer Leverkusen, Salzburg, Olympiacos or Krasnodar, Bruges, Valencia, Inter Milan, Dynamo Zagreb or Rosenborg. I'd take Club Bruges. If Rosenborg got through, I'd take them. Probably Olympiacos. That's not too bad of a pot 3. Probably Bayer Leverkusen is probably the one you want to avoid. And then pot 4. Lokomotiv Moscow, Young Boys of Bern, I presume, or Red Star. Genk, Galatasaray, Leipzig, Slavia Prague, Atalanta and Lille. I did read that Atalanta are playing their games at the San Siro. I don't know how true that is. But for me, looking at that, pot 2, you'd have to be looking at Benfica, possibly Ajax, and possibly Shakhtar, right? Pot 3, if you can get rid of Lyon, Leverkusen, anything at Valencia, Inter, you know, they're decent sides. Bruges is the one that stands out in pot 3 for me, really does. And in pot 4, there's no one there you fear. I'm just looking for the trips more than anything else, you know, long trips and different things. I'd still go probably Atalanta's probably not, Lille, Slavia Prague, but Leipzig, Galatasaray, Genk is probably one. I just want a really easy run, being honest with you. Rosenborg in the winter, are you mad, Gav? Says Cop. Never thought of that. Never. Bring an extra pair of socks, you'd be grand. No biggie. These lads can sort this out. Save Real for Istanbul, number 7. I'd fancy it against Real, I'm being honest with you. Less travelling will be beneficial. See, that's what I'm looking at. You know, Bruges is a handy one. Prague is not too bad, and Benfica not too bad. You know, that's just the way it goes. I'm going to leave it there. We've done nearly 40 minutes. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow night. I will put on a tweet tomorrow who's on with me tomorrow night, but we have a guest tomorrow night. Again, any comments you have, anything you see in the media, anything Liverpool related, absolutely throw it in here and we'll have a discussion about it. Any non-Liverpool stuff, any non-football stuff, by all means, throw it in here. We'll absolutely talk about it. Listen, used to side the show most nights, and that's the way it should be. I'm only here to, you know, take it all in, throw it all back out there, and see how it goes. But yeah, that's been me. That's been from the studio tonight. You can see there, yeah, we're from the studio tonight. But no, that's been it. That's been the Fatback 4 Daily for this Monday. I think it's the 26th. I could be completely wrong. But no, that's been it. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow at 10 PM. Over now.